with a data cleaning example where I'm reading a file and it has a lot of empty spaces in it. So the challenges that I face while reading such file which has a lot of empty spaces, and how do we deal with such kind of empty space. So to start with, I'm reading I'm importing NumPy's and Pandas libraries, and I'm reading data from a file which is user underscore data.csv. Now this file has empty spaces at the start, and what you see after I read this file and I just display this data frame, you should see the columns and the values are not coming in a proper order. Name is here, but the name is coming this side. So because this file has some initial space present in it, so in such cases, whenever we get a file like this, we need to specify one parameter called as skip initial space equals to true. So again, I'm reading the same file. The only thing I've done is I'm just specifying skip initial space equals to true. So it will skip. So in the data file, if there are some spaces present in the initial, that is at the start of each record, it will skip such spaces and it will read the file. Now if you see, data is coming much more proper compared to the earlier one. So it's name, age, date of joining, and address. Okay, now what I'm taking is one particular name from this name column. So the name, it looks like Ramanigam. I'm just trying to compare it with the exact value Ramanigam. It says false, but it means that there is something extra in it because of which it is not matching with the name. So what I found that there are some leading and trailing spaces in each of the columns. So if I compare the same name with Ramanigam with leading and trailing space, then it matches equals to true. Now we have to get rid of these leading and trailing spaces. So before doing that, I'm just printing the length of each of the name. So using df name dot apply lambda x length is x, so it will apply function length on each of the values of name and it will print. So our names are currently of this length. So basically this is not the actual length of the name. This contains the length of the name along with any leading and trailing spaces. So what we have to do, we have to remove the space from the front as well as from the end, that is leading space as well as the trailing spaces. It could be one or it could be more than one. Yeah. So what I'm doing is df dot replace. So basically I have to replace what we have to replace, any leading or trailing spaces. So leading spaces, caret backslash s. So caret means start of the string, backslash s means any space, star means zero or more. So any space which is zero or more at the start of the string, and this pipe symbol means or condition, or any space which is present at the end. So this dollar means at the end. So it means any space which is present at the start or at the end, it should be replaced by nothing, that is empty string. That is basically we are removing those spaces. And since this is a regex, so I'm saying regex equals to true, regular expression, and in place equals to true. So changes will take place within the data frame. The next thing is, after doing this, it is quite possible that there are some values in which there were only empty spaces. Now, after those uh, the spaces are removed, the string actually becomes empty. So we want to represent such strings as nan np.nan. So I'm doing df.replace any empty string, make it appear it as a nan. Okay, after doing this, I'm just displaying the length of the name column again. So if you see, earlier the length was 12, 13, 13, 12. Now it is coming as 10, 12, 11, 11. So what it means, there were some extra spaces which were present at the start, at the end, that is leading or the trailing spaces. Those have been removed. Now if I just display the data frame, so this is what it looks like. One thing is, if I just compare the name with Ramanigam, it is coming as true. It means there is no leading or trailing space. Another thing to note, that earlier in the address column, you were seeing nothing was there. That is, there was actually space present, But now after this operation, what we have done is we have converted that that is, we have removed that space, and whatever was empty value was there, we have replaced that empty value with none. So now it is easy for us to apply any nan functions on this particular column. So because it is now coming it as nan. So that is one thing. Now the same thing we can do using Python's strip function. So strip, what it does, it actually removes any leading or trailing spaces. So again, I'm just reading the same file and specifying skip initial space equals to true. Parse date equals to date of joining. So basically there is one column which is date of joining. Since we know it's a date column, so I can specify it as a column having dates in it. So accordingly it will be parsed as a date time column. And if I read it and show the data types, df.d types. So if you see, name is object, that is okay. Age is a number, that is integer. And doj, now it is coming as date time column because we had specified parse underscore date equals to doj, which is date of joining. And address is again the object. Now what we are doing is I'm for each of the column of this data frame, I'm checking if the data type of the column is of string, then apply the strip function on that particular column. So for column in data frames column, check if the type of the column is of string type. So this is the column, and if it is of string type, then I'm just printing that I'm working on that column. And what I'm doing is I'm just applying this column dot str dot strip because it's a string function, so we have to use dot str. So data frames column dot str dot strip, and storing the result back in the same column. And after that, again replacing any empty string by nan. So it found actually two. So if you see, name was a string, so it applied this strip function on name as well as on address, because other two columns were not string. Now after this, if I display, we get the same result what we were getting earlier. So that way we can apply either using the strip or using the regular expression. Since strip is an inbuilt function, so it will have a better performance compared to the regular expression. So if possible, prefer to use strip any inbuilt function that solves your purpose. If not, then we have to write our custom function. Now another case is basically we are uh, reading data from a file. It has some passports numbers in it. Okay, some ID numbers, users ID designated by passport. Now we have to identify which are the valid passport numbers. So first I'm just reading it. It has only and storing it in a data frame called as data. And if I see the head, it has displaying the first few records. So it has only one column called as passport number. Now first thing I want to see whether this particular column has all unique values or if there is any duplicate. And if yes, if there is any duplicate, then how many duplicates are there. So what I'm doing is I'm just finding out the length of this column. That is the length of this uh, uh, passport, or the length of, because it has only one column, so either you give the whole data frame or just the particular column. It doesn't matter because it has only one column. So length of the data and subtracting the unique values. So I get 7. So it means there are some 7 duplicate records in it. So to remove all those duplicate records, I will just simply say data, which is the name of the data frame, dot drop underscore duplicates in place equals to true. So it will drop all the duplicate records and the changes will be done within the data frame. And now if I compare the length of data frame with the unique values, it comes as true. It means now all the values within this data frame are unique. So this first step is done. That is, we have removed the duplicates. Now let's say we are given the business rule that uh, the definition of a valid passport is such that it should be of length 9, and it should not have any leading zeros, and the passport number should start with an alphabet. Okay, so before checking the rule, let me first quickly see what is the minimum and the maximum length of the passport that we have in our records. So we get minimum length is 3 and maximum length is 7. So how do we do this? We just simply say data and the name of the column is passport number. I'm applying the length function and then I'm aggregating to find out the minimum and the maximum. Now, now what I'm doing is I'm creating another field in this particular data frame, which is passport length that stores the length of the passport number. So data passport length. So that is the new field. Its value will be the passport number's length. So I'm applying the length function on passport number. It will store the length of that passport number in that particular field. Now I want to find out all those passports which are of length 9 because our business criteria is that all the passports number, all the valid passports number should be of length 9. So I'm just applying the first thing is okay, how many passports are there which have a length of 9? So I got 2552. Now, okay, now let's say if you want to display few records based on you want to see uh, which passports were there which were having minimum length or the maximum length, that also we can do by just applying the the boolean condition here, that is data dot passport length equals to data dot passport length underscore minimum. So it's kind of a condition which will evaluate into true or false. So whichever records will have true, those will be displayed accordingly for maximum. So we see, okay, these are the records which were having the minimum passport length, and these are the ones which were having the maximum passport length. Fine. Now we have already stored length of passport in our column called as passport length. Now I want to group by based on that particular length. I want to see how many passports. I want to see basically the distribution of the passport based on the length of the passport number. So I'm just grouping by on the basis of passport length, and I'm doing the count. So we have total three passports which have length 3. There are 21 passport numbers are there which have length of 4. Similarly like this. Now our target is all those passport numbers which are of length 9. So there are 2552. This is what we got earlier. If you see, so this way we can display those records which belong to minimum or the maximum length. Now, okay, this is what I have done. I've just grouped by on the basis of the length, and we got the number of passports which belong to particular length. So we saw okay 2552 of length 9. Earlier also we saw 2552 of length 9. Okay, cool. Now next is we have to find out how many, because the rule, that was the rule number one, that the passport length should be of 9 characters. Now the second rule was that there should not be any leading zeros. So what I'm trying to find out, how many leading zeros are present in each of the passport number. So how to calculate the number of leading zeros? So what I have to do is I'm just subtracting from the full length of the passport number, that is taking the full length. From there I'm just using the L strip. I'm stripping out all the that is left strip. Doing the left strip of 0, that is I'm stripping out all the zeros which are present in the leading side or leading zeros. It's actually L strip means leading strip. So strip out all the zeros which are present in the leading side, and whatever is left, subtract that length from the original length. So in this way you get the number of the length of the number of leading zeros, and I'm storing it in another column called as leading zeros. So if I just display first few records, we see that okay, this particular passport number has length 8 and it has 0 leading zeros, that is no leading zeros there. Now this passport number, its length is 7 and there are 2 leading zeros. Similarly, there will be other passport numbers which will have some leading zeros. Okay. Now, based on our rule 2, I mean rule 1 and rule 2, rule 1 says length of the passport should be 9 and there should not be any leading zero. So I'm just doing the first condition. The length of the passport should be 9, and second condition is data dot, that is data, the data frame dot leading 0 equals to 0. That is there should not be any leading 0. So So there are 2,351 such passports. So from earlier 2552, we have come down to 2351. Now, another condition was that the passport number should start with an alphabet. So for such thing, I'm going to use a regular expression. So I'm just using this RE module. So importing it RE, and I'm just applying it on the passport number. So data is the data frame, and the column is the passport number. I'm applying the function. The function is basically lambda function, lambda x. So if there is a match, that is a regular expression match, such that at the start it is small a to z or capital A to z plus, that is, if the passport number starts with the small alphabet or capital alphabet, then return true, otherwise return false. So in this way it will return true or false, and I'm storing it in another column called as starts with letter. So all such passport numbers which are starting with letter, they will have this value true for this particular column, otherwise false. For example, if you see this starts with B, so it is true. This starts with 0, so this is false. This starts with O, so again true. Starts with the number 3, so this is false. Okay, now we have to find out. Now we have got all our three rules. So basically, we just have to combine our three rules and to find out the index of all such records which are valid. So rule 1, uh, data dot starts with, that is, uh, starts with a letter. So since this is a Boolean condition, so it will select only those records where this stands true. So that is all those passports which are starting with a letter, those will be selected based on this condition. And the other condition is length of the passport should be of 9. And I am finding out the index and storing it in another variable called as valid index. And after that, I am just displaying all those records which belong to this particular index. So data dot lock and this valid index. So if you see, these are the passport numbers which are all valid. So these are 2110. So from around 2500 we have come down to 2100. So initially it look, if you see, initially it looked like there are 2500 valid values which are of length 9. But as we progressed further and applied more conditions, we found that okay, uh, around 400 records got filtered out based on the other conditions. So in this way, we can uh, for the given data, we can apply the functions on it to get rid of any extra space or any leading zeros, and another business rules that we are given, we can apply on it, and we can do the data cleaning. Thank you.